video for you today. Go ahead, Jane. Can you show them our little video for everybody? You guys might want to take notes on this great sales tactics. I love that. What do y'all think? That's pretty funny. All right. Touche, salesman. All right, let's get out of here and get into this. That was my tip for the day. Anybody need any volcano insurance?
I've got handsome cream if anyone wants any of that.
There you go. I love it. No, it's so funny. Okay, so I want to go over Leanne built this out for us. If you don't have your landing page, get with Leanne and she'll build you your own customized landing page. But we have one for agents first, and you could use this one. But I want to talk about a few things on here that's going to help you as an agent be more successful, right? This is just simply us. We're getting ready. We're going to be rebranding and kind of relogoing, come up with a different logo. I think it's time to start doing stuff, and we're going to do that. Let's just talk about as we go announcements on here, right? What is the boot camp? You guys tell me what's going on here. Who wants to promote the boot camp? One of you agents that are going to boot camp, tell me why you're going and what's so important about us going to this. You want me to pick
Hmm.
somebody?
I'll
Leanne.
go.
Okay, tell me, why are we going to boot camp? Go ahead.
Sherry?
Oh, I thought Leanne was going to go.
Oh,
Anyway,
Sherry, I want you, whoever.
well,
Yeah,
me. Okay.
Sherry, go ahead.
Well, I am really liking everything about debt-free life, infinite banking, the IUL, and I just can't get enough information, and I want to
Mhm.
learn how I can do it myself. And
Mhm.
um, uh, I can't
Mhm.
wait. That's about all I can say is that it's I love how Scott teaches us. I love
Mhm.
his guidance. I appreciate that he needs more people to help in this area because it's just going to blow up. And I want to be one of those subject matter
You want to be,
experts to be part of that. So that's
love it.
why I'm excited and I can't wait to meet everybody.
It's gonna be fun. If we didn't do anything else, you're gonna get to see us in person, all right? You're gonna get to hang out with the professor and Gilligan, and we're gonna have a good time. And so, so subject matter experts. You're right. One of the reasons you want to go, guys, is that is going to change your life. You can take 40% hand off cases over to the subject matter expert. Or you can start saying, I can do that myself, become one myself, and make 100% and do that. So as you learn, you will want to become an SME, and that's going to be powerful. That's boot camp, and you want to go to it. And it's coming up May the 12th, 13th, and 14th. I bought my airplane ticket to it yesterday. And guess what, guys? Would you believe from Oklahoma to Sarasota, not Tampa, but actually to Sarasota, just a few miles away from the hotel, staying at the Hyatt. I got my ticket for $389 round trip, round trip to Sarasota from Oklahoma City from Sunday, and I'm going in the day before, and I'm leaving the day after. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, staying at the Hyatt, and I'm getting those rooms for $110 a night that are normally about 300 night rooms. Right there on the beach in Sarasota, beautiful place. So you'll never beat it. And guys, check this out. When I get my ticket, I realized Becky, so a year ago, we were going to go down to Florida and the hurricane stopped us. And we had bought our airplane tickets, but we never used them. So when I talked to the lady, I said, hey, I think my wife had a ticket, still that we hadn't used yet. And she simply moved it over. So I'm flying for free. We already paid for it. So it's awesome. But anyway, So tickets are cheap if you get them right now. It's not too late to register, and we'll make room for you, but get plugged in and go to boot camp, right? And you do that right there. If you want to go and you hadn't signed up yet, get with us, all right? So let's look at what else here. When you go onto this landing page, you have everything you can possibly imagine you would ever need, right? So forms, client intake forms. You got all these, the debt income worksheet, debt-free life forms on here. This is a big one if you're doing the debt-free life program. Final expense worksheets, all of this stuff is really cool. Scripts. If you want a script on how to sell these, we put our scripts in here. And these are really good. And we will be adding a health script on here pretty soon. And I think we'll wait till after Tommy's training, then me and Tommy will put together some really good scripts. And then all these other ones are some trainings and stuff that we've done. Now, where else can you get trainings? Can somebody unmute yourself and tell me where do you find trainings at if you just wanted to go, or if you wanted to send a new agent to learn about Agents First or our training? Where can they go to?
Every day on live
It's on
dial.
there.
There's one of them, live dials, but where else?
It's on the YouTube channel. That's
Okay.
on that landing
Yep.
page.
On the landing page, we're going to have it. There's a YouTube channel, and you can go to agentsfirstinsurance.com or just go to YouTube and look up Agents First Insurance, and we have all of our trainings there. So whenever I hire people, and we've been hiring a lot lately, and when I hire somebody, here's what I've been doing. I've been saying, hey, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to go to our YouTube channel and go to Agents First Insurance, and you do your research, and you kind of watch a few of those videos, and then I'm going to reschedule a meeting with you tomorrow, and then let's talk about it. And that's been working wonderfully because they go on there and they see all the cool stuff, and then we get to talk to them. So that's not a bad way to recruit, right? So product knowledge, these are the different things that we've added on here that is really some good stuff. But the one I want to go to is we were talking about, and these are some neat stuff if you just want to put on your social media, and we're kind of constantly adding stuff here. Let's see.
Look.
There's some art. Go ahead. Yep. Leanne,
I was
you
just
have
gonna. I just wanted to point out something to Scott. I was just gonna say, look.
yes. And Leanne had put on here this is one I don't want to go too fast. I'm just scrolling back and forth. This is pretty incredible. Hey Leanne, if I wanted, somebody was asking me last night where they can get the phone numbers, all the carriers, and I didn't know if it was on here.
So on that carrier guide, if you look at the very bottom of that carrier guide where it has the carrier guide's name in blue.
Oh, somewhere else?
The blue, no,
Yeah,
on
the
those blue
hyperlink's
tabs,
right there.
yeah.
Just
It's
you're
here.
going past it, Darren.
Just move your
No.
mouse.
Go down. Go down to the bottom of the thing.
The page.
Don't scroll right there. Nope, right
Yeah,
there.
see, okay.
No.
See,
Go lower.
like Aflac is in blue and
There you go.
MM's in blue.
Yeah, I got you. I see it, baby.
The
I
lips.
got you.
Okay,
All
so
right.
just
AOL,
click on one. Yeah, click
I'll
on
click
one.
America.
I don't think I have America finished because I just got my
Okay,
license.
let me do
But see
another.
how
I'll do Aflac.
but it has
Let me do Aflac.
like it had phone number. So it
There
has
you
the
go.
phone number
Okay.
listed. It'll have the
Yep.
emails, and then it'll have once I get it completed, I'm gonna start like working on this harder. But it'll have
Nice.
the products and everything that you see that's in blue writing, those are hyperlinks. So if you
Okay.
click on it, it will take you to that product, like if it's a brochure or just information in regards to that product.
Okay. So perfect. And then we'll keep those updated and put phone numbers on those.
Like,
but this is a great
If you
place
want to
to
show
get your phone.
GTL, I have majority of GTLs finished.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to click on GTLs and then
I
that's
can. Yeah, I'll get it. Yeah.
yeah.
Here we go.
So yeah,
Beautiful.
majority of GTLs
Okay.
is completely built out and finished.
Nice.
So like,
yeah, I love it. So they got the different term products and different things you can do on here. But the big thing is they were asking for phone numbers, and
So it's
Misha
right there.
was nice enough to type them all in and do all that. But I knew we had them, but I just didn't know where we had them at. So that they're right down here, guys.
yeah.
So
So I
very
think
cool.
what I'm
And
gonna
that is
also
on-
do what I'm also going to do to add to that to make it a little bit easier for all of our agents is I'm going to try to link the agent portal on there as
Mhm.
well. So that way from this page, you can click on that agent's name, that carrier's name and go straight into your agent portal. So
Beautiful. And
if y'all
then
want that, let me know and I'll add that to my long list of duties to do.
don't overwork yourself, but
But
I think everything
uh
we do is a work in progress. So
yeah. And so
um
there's the videos for advanced market masters. We have this you
okay.
can go to Scott's calendar, his Elevate form, the website, Zoom, there's agents first
Good.
stuff, and then under videos and recordings, you'll see McDonald Financial Solutions YouTube.
Love it. Yep. Okay. And so, guys, this is a lot of stuff here, and then, and Scott, I didn't know where to find your calendar the other day, so I didn't know we had it on here. There's stuff on this landing page I didn't even know about, and so I love this landing page. Everything you will probably need is going to be on here. If it's not already, it will be. So your CRM, you can go like there's so many things here. Our Zoom. You can actually send this to somebody, and if they want to be on our Zoom, get them on here and just send it to them. Agents First website. This is one I want to go to right now, and I want to look at this one. So you can go to our website simply by typing agentsfirstinsurance.com or use your landing page and just click on it. Now, check this out. We've added this so I can send this out to a new client, right? So I'm sitting there, I'm talking to my new client. This is what I want you guys to take notes on because this is a selling point today. I'm doing a final expense plan, right? And I used this week, as a matter of fact. A lady was thinking about going with somebody else. I'd already sold her a mutual, and somebody else was talking to her. I said, "Do you understand that we have a partnership?" And I don't even know if I went over this with you, but understand we have a partnership with a wholesale funeral supply company that gets your funeral supplies to 50 to 70% off, and you get that with us. So, guys, you can send them here and tell them go to our overnight caskets partnership. Click on this. And it's that simple. Send them the landing link, walk them through it, and they're going to go on here. And then you
You
look at
don't
the
want to
prices.
send your clients, Darren, you don't want to send the clients the landing link because that
Right.
landing link is for agents only.
Yeah, we don't want to send that to them, but we need to be
Yes,
able to send them the website. So wouldn't that be probably better? Make sure they get the website,
correct.
Agents First Insurance, and then we can direct them there. And then we can probably come up with just maybe if we need to do something just for this alone. I bet there's a way we could do that too. Um, where maybe we just send them this page. I'm not sure how
Yeah,
that would work because I want Agents
you
First
just
on
copy the
there.
URL.
But I want to keep Agents First information because it's our partnership with them to know that they're
Correct.
using us to get to them. So look at some of these, like the pricing here, right? 1,549. This casket, if you went directly through the funeral home, it's probably going to be about a $4,500 casket. So you can see the price is anywhere from 50 to 70% cheaper than they're getting. These are shipped. Overnight, free shipping free, right? So no cost to ship, and they're shipped overnight to the funeral homes. And you can kind of read on here and all the stuff it says about it. They can do other things as well. But let's say if you get this, it's a great way. Check this out, 1,199, so $1,200, and they get a beautiful, casket, and they can just go online and start designing, picking out, and there's a lot more options than what I'm showing here. These are just some of them, right? These are top selling, but they've got lots of options here, hundreds to choose from. Where if they were going to a funeral home, you're kind of limited to the 5 caskets they got in their warehouse, right? That they're in their showroom. So they get to pick out, and they can do, and they can save money. So when would you use this? Two reasons. One, I could do it at the point of sell if I'm in the selling process and they were to say to me, well, Darren, you know, I I can't afford the $10,000 plan. I know funeral costs about $10,000, but that's out of my budget. I can't afford the $109 a month for a $10,000. I simply say, well, what if I showed you our partnership company, overnightcaskets.com? They literally ship these overnight. You get 50 to 70% off on your funeral home supplies, and they'll be shipped overnight. So let's cut that funeral cost down from 10,000 to maybe about 6 to 7,000, and let's see what that does now, okay? And then you run them a 6,000 or $7,000 quote, and then you see if you get that price rate down from 100 to maybe 60 to $70, and you say, does this one fit your budget a little bit better? We can make that work. And so you can use it as a selling point that we have that no one else is doing this. I haven't seen any other, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong. Now, I tell you who does stuff like this is a company. I'm not even going to say the name because it's going to be recorded, but some of the captive companies will do something similar um, than what we're doing. At this, they have partnerships with, let me get over here. Okay. So they have partnership with companies like this, and they'll do it something similar to that, and they do their whole selling strategy around that, right? They will do their whole selling strategy around, hey, we're going to save you so much money on this if you just have our product. Well, guess what? But those products, when they do that, their line of products are typically going to be about 20 to 40% higher, sometimes more than we are. Why? Because we can shop. We can shop with lots of different carriers where they are limited to their one company, right? So we get to kind of shop around a little bit. And then once we get them the lowest price that we feel like is going to fit what they need, then we can throw that in. The other time you want to use that overnight caskets would be the example this week when the lady, I get a message from Tommy, and it was a client that Tommy had sent me because she got declined with Aflac. I got her approved day one with Mutual of Omaha, and so I got her approved, and then some clown comes in tries to over or sell her another policy. So I just simply reached out to her and said, if you're worried about a few dollars, this guy's not going to be able to. He's not going to be able to give you the 50 to 70% off on your funeral home supplies that we are. Like you get this package with us, and you're going to be able to use that. And she was like, "You're right," and she said, "I'm keeping it." So sometimes it can be a way of maintaining persistency. So that's the next thing I want to talk about this morning a little bit before Misha and I get having fun is persistency. How can we maintain? So one of the things that I want to address this morning is agents with low persistency and what's causing it. What does persistency mean? Let's talk about that first. It simply means how much of your business is staying on the books. All right. When I first started doing life insurance, and I didn't understand that concept really. I understood if somebody fell off, but I didn't understand the importance of keeping a high persistency. Carriers will terminate you, and they'll put you on as earned. As earned simply means instead of getting a 9 month advance, you're going to get paid month by month by month. And if you have a low persistency, and typically if it's running that 60 or 70% range, what does that mean? So if I'm running 70% persistency, that simply means 70% of my business is staying on the books, but 30% is not. Now there was a day when 70% was they frowned at 70, but it was probably fairly final expense. That was kind of you can expect some of that. It started going lower lately, but if you're not maintaining about a 70 or 65 or 70% in that business, you need to stop and reevaluate what you're doing and how you're doing it. Okay. So here, we're going to talk about things you can do to increase persistency. And some of you agents that I've got on here that's been with me for a bit, you can vouch for me if you need to chime in, please do so. People like Misha, Helen, Siobhan, people that's been selling final expense for a long time. Because ultimately that's what we're talking about for the most part, final expense. I never had bad persistency. I always ran about 92% when I was selling, when I was doing mortgage protection. And 92% is really, really good in this industry. That means 9 out of 10 stayed on the books. And there's always going to be a few that just things happen in life and they lose it. But um, final expense, when I started running it, it probably dropped into the 80s, but it never dropped into the 70s for the most part on my final expense, even because I did certain things to maintain higher persistency. So, what are things that we can do? One is now we actually got this hook with the overnight casket company that we have a partnership with. That we've got that hook that we can remember, hang that carrot over and dangle it a little bit and say, look, we've got this, nobody else does. But what else can you do? Reach out to your clients. Don't be afraid. Misha and I talked about this last night. If a client calls you, don't be afraid to answer the phone, right? Now, I had a client call me 3 times this week. I wrote him a policy 2 weeks ago, and the guy's name is Juan. And Juan calls me. And when he first called me, I wrote him a policy through Americo for $239 a month. So that's a big policy. That's going to pay me $2,500 right off the bat. It's a nice policy. And Juan calls me like 3 days later. Now, there was a time when I probably would have been afraid to answer that phone because I'm like, oh crap, he's going to cancel, right? And if I don't answer the phone, that means he can't cancel. Well, wrong. If he wants to cancel, he's going to find a way to cancel, I promise. So why wouldn't I answer that phone? So I answered the phone, and Juan and I was talking. He's like, hey, I just want to make sure everything's good on my policy. Well, it doesn't come out until May 6th. And so I'm like, yeah, brother, everything's good. You're solid, man. Let's talk on May 6th and make sure that it come out of your bank all right. He said, okay. Well, he called me a few days later and he said, hey, are you sure everything's good? And I'm like, yeah, everything's good. And he said, okay, I just want to make sure. And I'm like, so I'm like, dang, that's what you want, right? You want clients that like that. That's the type of client you want. And then he actually called me for the third time yesterday. And he says, hey, Mr. Darren, Mr. Darren, this is Juan. I said, hey, brother, how are you doing? And he says, good. He says, are you sure that policy's good? I said, brother, it's solid. And he's, well, I told you about my heart attack or whatever it was back in 2017. I said, you told me. And I said, they ran the scripts. And he said, well, you need to know I take my medicines every day. And he was just went on and on. He was so concerned that it's not going to take, and it's already been approved. It's going to take. I said they will take your money out on May 6th. So I'm going to call you on May 6th, and we're going to make sure it went out. But those are what you want, right? Don't be afraid to answer your phone. I've had clients call me and they were like, "Hey, I've got a sister over here. Can you help her out?" If I never took that call, I wouldn't have got the referral. So never be afraid to talk to your clients. The other thing that I used to do, and I've kind of quit doing because I don't sell as much, but when I was doing that $100,000 in 10 weeks, I was selling like a banshee, right? So my wife she was my secretary at the time. So what I was doing is I was selling veteran my veterans or veterans first, and that was my marketing campaign I was running, and I put together a little veteran script of things that they would need when they pass away about how to get certain benefits, right? And so I had this stuff, and I still have it. I'll share it with anybody that needs all this. And I would send a little packet with it, and with a nice card saying from Darren and Becky, had me and my wife's picture on it. And we said, we want to thank you so much for allowing us to be your lifelong agent. And then we had a little thing about my policy, and it's just a really nice little script thing that I said, hang this on your refrigerator. It had the amount of insurance, when that policy, how much it's going to be, how much a month it's going to be, so they can expect it, know when it's coming out. And I would send that to every client. Every client got that. And so they knew, and then I would always do this. I would really become friends with these people at the end of it after we made the sale, right? You don't become friends in the middle, but at the end of it, you can have time to visit. Never rush a sale. If you are trying to get off the phone to get back on the phone to make another sale, you're going to wind up losing more sales than you'll make. Stop. Don't rush a sell. Take your time. At the end of it's the most important because you already made the sell. Now, the next 5 minutes is probably the most important 5 minutes of your sell. And let's talk about that. When I'm closing a sell, I'm going to say stuff like, who do I got on here that I can pick on today? Kenny. So I'm going to say, um, all right. Hey, Kenny, I want you to do me a favor. I've already got your number and my phone plugged in as Kenny, favorite client here. And will you do me a favor? Will you put Darren White, life insurance agent, in your phone? Will you type that in so that whenever I call you, that you're going to know it's me and you'll answer it? And then that way, also, if your kids ever need something, you can just share my number to them and let them know. Okay. So will you do that for me? And make sure they put your number in their phone, and then you put yours, because when they call me, I will get at least one time a month, I'll get somebody call me, and I might not have, I sold them policy maybe 1 or 2 years ago, and they call me and their name shows up on my phone. And when I answer it, you think I remember them if I just like, they say, "Hey, this is Barbara. You sold me a policy 2 years ago." Guys, I've sold thousands of policies over the last couple of years. But when it says Barbara on there, here's what I do. "Hey, Barbara, what's going on?" She's like, "Hey, I can't believe you remember me." I'm like, "Yeah, of course I do. And what can I do for you? You know what? And she was like, "Yeah, remember when we got that policy?" And I get her to kind of rehash what we did, but I put their number in my phone and I remember it. I make sure they do the same thing. So what do I do? For adding persistency, I send out a thank you card, or if you got something more you want to send it, you can send that out. Um, we got I think, Leanne, did I see where we had within our, if I want to, we need to put together probably like a landing page that had the overnight casket, but also I remember seeing that you had a burial, or it's a final wishes type of thing. Did I see that you had that? I
Yeah,
think
it's on the
probably
landing page. Yeah, it's
it's
on
on the
there.
landing
Yeah.
page.
You
Why
want me to
don't we
show it real
create?
quick?
Yeah, would you do that? Now,
Sure.
I was thinking, I used to do this. So I sold almost everything Aflac or Aetna back in day. That's when because it was so easy to write an Aetna application, and if they got declined, I switched to Americo. But I always got them coverage. But those companies will give you a free, as many as you want. They will send you as many of those wish guides, wish books as you want. Mutual of Omaha, Americo, Aetna, Aflac. You get them for free. And whenever I would mail out my packet, I always put a wish book inside of it. But go ahead and pull that up and show us what that looks like.
All right, it's on the landing page. For anybody who has a landing page that I created, it's under your forms section and it says my
Hmm.
final wishes.
Hmm.
And so
There you go.
basically, it's just a form you would print out or email and send to them. They fill it out. They just keep it with
Hmm.
their insurance policy. And it's just basic information for them to be able to have. And so that way, like,
Yep.
if I was to pass, my husband would have no idea how to pay the bills. He would not even know who our
Yep.
electric bill is with or whatever. So it's just kind of like basic information that your loved ones needs to know or their loved ones needs to know. Banking
Beautiful.
information if they were military, and then second page basically, they would check like if they want a funeral, memorial, celebration of life, stuff like that. They want to be cremated, buried,
Hmm.
ceremony request type stuff, if they want to donate their organs, what favorite songs they have, flowers, colors, stuff like that, who request to be buried with. When my grandpa was passing, he requested to be buried with his Harley. That didn't happen, but they did figure out a way to put a Harley on his tombstone.
Yeah.
So, but
Oh,
if you like
nice.
have a special person you want for to be your pallbearer, any additional requests, if they want to leave a special message, and then they would sign it. The only thing is, I haven't found out, and I need to find someone who's a notary to see if this is something that should be notarized and can be notarized. But other than that, I mean, it just
Yeah.
basically have basic information for that they can fill out. And then that way,
And
whenever their children or their families are not fighting on like no, she told me or he told me that they wanted this. And then, it
Yeah.
kind of like it's that thing like,
Yeah.
when we die, we want to go in peace. So let me go in peace, but do it in my way.
Yeah. And that probably don't need to be notarized as long as they do that and they share with their beneficiaries their final wishes, what that's going to look like. Usually, but that's powerful. And then what if you sent that right there in with your thank you note, right? So you sent that
Mhm.
in, you sent your thank you information. We let them know about the overnight casket company. They're going to be able to get and pick that out ahead of time. And then you also always know that every company that we sell through is going to give you a terminal rider, and you make sure they know about this. So any rider that they have attached to it, make sure you emphasize it, right? Because let's say, for an example, they did get cancer, and they said you only get you get stage 4 cancer, right? We project you to live, it's next 6, 9 months, whatever it might be. You get to be able to pull from your policy early. Usually it's up to 70, 80, 90%, depending on the carrier. But even if you can pull out half of it, or all of it, I don't care. But use that to go ahead and go make your funeral arrangements while you're alive, right? So you don't have to wait till you're dead. You can actually pull from the policy, go down there to the funeral home and pay for all that stuff. You pay for your overnight caskets and get all that stuff already done. And that's part of your policy. So you don't have to wait. They can actually have the money ahead to do that. So there are ways to save policies that a lot of us don't think about. We get so far that thinking I just got to go to the very next person, and you go to the next cell and you forgot all about who you sold your policy to. Did you call them up a week or two later and say, "Hey, still thinking about you, making sure everything's good. Did your policy come in yet?" If you're not doing that, guys, and you have bad persistency, let's let's have some conversations, some real heart-to-heart conversations. And I'm going to ask you, um, we can even go to your. I can go to your portal. We can start pulling up names, and I said, "Do you want me to call a few and see, check on them for you?" You tell me, what are they going to say? If I were to go to your portal and call your clients, and I can because I know I got that availability because you're my downline, and I can call your clients, and I would say, "Hey, you know, tell me about old Kenny. How did he do for you?" Well, who's Kenny? If they say that, I'm like, how much time did Kenny spend? Did he get you a thank you card? Did you got Kenny's number? No, guys, are we rushing through? There was a time, and Scott, I was talking to Scott about this about a week ago, maybe this week. Part of me says, do we really want agents first to keep even doing final expense? Guys, I'm telling you, if we don't address this issue, then there might be a day that we stop doing final expense. And it's not because I don't love final expense. I think they're the place for it. Guys, I wrote $100,000 of business in 10 weeks on nothing but final expense from a guy that didn't know anything about final expense. I knew mortgage protection, but I found the niche and I found a way to sell it. And I figured out how to keep good persistency. And I've maintained really good persistency. One thing I liked about my veteran market is guess what? Veterans are typically they've got another source of income a lot of times, and they're honorable. And if I sit there and say stuff like to you, um, I'm going to honor your time if you'll honor my time, and use that word honor. I respect you being a military veteran, and I know that you're going to respect me. We've got this meeting set up for tomorrow at 2:30. You're going to be there, right? I know you're a man of your word, and I'm going to be there too. Okay, and so I would do things like that to make sure to solidify everything. And I always say this: if some shiny shoes, slick haired, snot nosed salesman, right? Or whatever, shiny shoes, slick haired salesman comes to your door and tries to sell you something cheaper. What do I always say? You guys know what I'm going to say here. Remember, cheap is ugly. I'm going to get that shirt made up. Cheap, or a cap. Cheap is ugly. So whenever some slick-haired shiny shoe salesman comes to your door and tries to sell you something cheaper, remember, baby, cheap is ugly. You don't want cheap, you want best. I've just sold you the Cadillac of companies. With the Cadillac of agents, you're going to have me for the rest of your life. You're going to have the overnight casket company we're going to help you with. You're going to have all the support and that you need. You've got my number. When those people call you or they knock on your door, say, no, thank you. I've got the best. Will you do that for me? Perfect. And you got to solidify. I'm not afraid to do final expense if you do it in the right manner. But if I look at your persistency and it's not at a high persistency, two things are going to happen. You're going to get paid on as earned, or you're going to get terminated with us because I cannot deal with that pressure anymore. And you guys as leader will understand what I'm talking about. And sometimes as the CEO, we have to have these hard conversations with our agents. And if you're not doing all those things we talked about and your persistency is low, stop and reconsider what you're doing and how you're doing it. And what's the old insanity saying? If you keep doing the thing the way you've been doing, you're going to keep getting the same results. So if your persistency is low, stop and look at maybe the lead flow you're using. Maybe it's not just you. Maybe it's some of you, but maybe it's the lead flow you're using, right? Maybe that lead flow is being worked to death. I used to work at the other IMO. I stopped selling the leads. And Misha, go ahead and unmute yourself because he and I know what I'm talking about here. The leads that you and I used to work, those suckers were resold to how many agents? We talked about this last night. You would go to a home and you would sit there and somebody's knocking on the door while you're in the house and they're with the same company that we were with. And they bought the exact same lead that we had bought. And they're like, I'm with blank, blank, blank company. And they're like, I'm with blank, blank, blank company. And you're like, oh, it just drives you crazy, right? And so Misha, I'm on the right page here. So,
Yeah,
know
absolutely.
your
You
lead
absolutely
source.
are.
Know your lead source, and if it's not working for you, then move something. Guys, A1 leads is a vertical. It is your lead. It's never going to be resold. We created it. We generated it. It goes to you, and no one will ever buy that lead again. Now, Misha, let's have a little bit of fun here. Misha and I came back. We've known each other for a bit because we worked at the other IMO underneath the same leadership as a good friend, a guy named Albert Lau. I'm not afraid to say his name because I still talk to Albert quite often. And we came and worked under his tutelage, and he's the one that recently got an integrity contract, and good for Albert. We learned a lot, and one of the things we did, we learned what to do, we learned what not to do, right? And through that process of working with that company, he and I went through a lot. Before COVID, prior to COVID, life insurance was 180-degree different. Am I right, Misha?
100% right. It was
Yeah.
uh, it was totally different. It was hard, hard. You will definitely be fighting against agents from other companies, even with the exact same company. Like Darren
Mhm.
said, I mean, we will buy the leads from the exact same source. And it was funny. It happened to me several times that I went to the house. Sometimes I found people from other IMOs, and sometimes the people that I already knew, we went and knocked on the door on the same person. It was very, very hard. The industry has changed so much. COVID has really was a blessing in disguise because we went from knocking on doors, from buying leads to try to sell an appointment. That was the thing. That was the hardest part. Try to set up an appointment, and if you could not set up the appointment, you gotta go. You had to go door knocking, and knocking on every door. That was hard. I mean, our our the money that we're spending on leads was always between $2,000 to $3,000 every month, plus gas, plus maintenance, plus tires, plus food. I mean, it was really, really, really hard. Uh, and now, I mean, after COVID, what I was telling the guys yesterday, I even have, well, many of us worked through COVID. We were still going knocking
Mhm.
on doors. It was fun too because it was a different experience. But I made some sales during COVID time. I would go knock on the door, I would leave my card, and I would go back to my car and call the person on the cell phone, roll the windows down, and then he could see me, I could see him through the window, and making the
Yep.
sale from the car. It was totally different.
We were
Now
actually trained. We were trained by that
to
company
do
to
that.
do that. And we watched videos. They were like, okay, so knock on the door, get eye contact, and leave them your card in the door, and then go to your car, and then say, I'm going to be calling you for the card. And we sowed COVID that through COVID, we did that because we didn't know how to. We were told back then, never do telesales. They don't work.
Oh, yeah.
If Helen's not here, when Helen used to do telesales prior to COVID, I ticked her off because I said, Helen, that doesn't work. She said it does work. I'm saying no, they told me it don't work. I had to call Helen and apologize, and because I'm like, maybe it does work, and it worked better than door to door. But hey, Misha, I remember going and taking my chair. I took a lawn chair with me, and they would pull up their chair on the one side of their door, a screen, like a glass screen. And I said,
Uh-huh.
you sit over there. I'm going to sit over here with my iPad. And we would talk through the screen, but through the door with our mask on. And I've sold probably 5 or 6 policies just through a door and talking like that. So COVID was crazy, right?
It was. And it was a
Changed
blessing,
it.
guys, like I said, because then after that, people didn't want anybody to come to their homes. And that's when all of us realized that making calls was the way to go. And I
Right.
was telling the guys yesterday, I have not gone in the field since September 2022. So it's been years since I haven't gone to the field. I mean, now all the sales that I made, I mean, I make them over the phone. And
Mhm.
the idea is, guys, is to continue making calls, continue practicing so you can get better. That way you don't have to go anywhere. I mean, like yesterday, for instance, I was on the phone. I mean, I had a lot done yesterday. We got on the phone, Jen, Teresa, and I. We were working on our carriers and all that. Uh, and then after that, I mean, after we were done, I got on the phone, made a sale, almost $1,700 AP uh, from my desk, and the client is in Texas. You know, so the world has shrunk so much, and the opportunity has gotten so much bigger that now we're licensed in other states. Again, the internet, the phones, and then the skill that you're getting by practicing it definitely is going to take you to a different level. You don't need to go anywhere anymore. I mean, in reality, it's very rare when you really have to go, I mean, see somebody. Like I said, I haven't seen a client face to face in years. I mean, pretty much I do everything over the phone, you know?
That's crazy. Prior
Yeah,
to
the
COVID,
leads,
that would never happen.
never.
Yeah, go ahead.
And the lead sources are better. I mean, because
Yeah.
the one that I did yesterday was from the Agents First Facebook campaigns. Guys, I used to spend like $3,000 in leads when I was in the field back in the
Mhm.
day. I mean, and again, plus all my expenses and card and maintenance. I mean, I needed to cover $4,000 before I become profitable.
Yep.
Now, my expense is less than 1,500. I get better quality leads, better opportunity. Have fun with it. I mean, people cuss you off, hang up, or whatever. Just keep on dialing. Then you call,
Mhm.
it's a recycle. Then you call the same person again, like a week later, and sometimes the people
Yep.
says, "Oh, nobody has ever called me." you know,
Yep.
and they're the nicest person, because probably you just call them at the wrong moment, but you just gotta keep on dialing. Then finally, you're gonna be selling the person that you didn't think that you were gonna sell. You're gonna sell.
Hey,
So
Misha,
go
talk
ahead.
about last night we were talking, and do you remember we talked about travel trips? So, guys,
Oh,
this is
travel
just
trips.
two old fogies there that used to sell life insurance the old school way. But I remember, guys, and I said it a long time ago. It hadn't been that long, 7, 8 years ago, when I first started selling life insurance. They didn't have e-apps, right? They didn't have e-applications. Sometimes you got brand new agents, you have no idea like how really blessed you have it. The lead source you have are like solid, not resold. They're your leads, and the fact that we used to you had to do a handwritten application. And I would drive an hour and a half down the road to a place, do a handwritten application, go home, submit it. It gets sent back to me because I missed a place for them to sign. I'm like, oh, so I had to go all the way back out there to their house, have them sign it, come back. And then I remember one time I had to do it twice because I sent it in. They're like, okay, but you didn't do this. Or they put the, like, oh, now e-applications you can literally it doesn't let you progress until you get there. I remember the very first time somebody they made their own e-application. I'm thinking of Leanne during this because it's the same type of personality as Leanne. You find a way, right? So she took a paper application, scanned it, and loaded it into her iPad or however I don't know what she did, how she did it, but she was able to turn it into another file. And then she was able to type on her thing in front of them, and she made her own e-application. And then everyone was talking about, hey, do you see what so and so did? And they're like, wow, that's really cool. How do we do that? Well, it wasn't probably a month after that that a company called CFG, Colonial Financial Group, Columbia Financial Group, whatever, CFG, came up with the first e-app. As far as the one I was aware of, they were the first one to come up with the e-app. And go, well, guess what? Everybody started writing once they did that. They stopped writing Mutual of Omaha and all these other ones because they had somebody to do an e-app. Well, it didn't take long for Mutual of Omaha to say, why aren't we doing an e-app? And then everything just kind of followed suit. Now everybody does e-apps and nobody does paper apps. Thank God, right? Uh, Tell us about those travel trips. That was pretty fun talking about.
The travel trip, that was the modality, if you were a great agent or if you wanted to move your business to the next level, then we started doing these things called travel trips, which
Yep.
it was like an oxymoron in reality. But the travel trip, what it was, you would buy, I don't know, 300 leads in a different state. And then you will make calls for a particular week or weekend and just try to fill your calendar as much as you could and then travel. I went to New Jersey, I went to Florida, I went to Texas just to set up appointments, to go to an appointments. Now imagine this. You had to buy leads, pay for your airfare, hotel, rental car, meals. It was
Yep.
horrible. I mean, you were in the whole 3, 4 grand before you actually become profitable. And if you had the
Yep.
bad luck, I mean, not to sell anything, God, you come back with the tail between your legs, saying like, "My God, this was horrible." But I mean, you continue being relentless, and you do it again, and you do it again. I used to do all California. I used to go to Fresno, Modesto, Sacramento. You know, stay there for 2, 3 days and sell. It was a lot of work. Now, I
Mhm.
mean, give me a break. I mean, the biggest traffic is from the bedroom to your office, and sometimes you're in shorts, PJs, and stuff like that, and all you gotta do is just be on your clothes. That's it.
That's it.
I want to recommend you this, guys. I mean, because for those that are new and you think this is hard, it is not. It's incredibly
Yeah.
simple. What you gotta do is just learn the lingo, learn how to navigate the computer, the systems, the applications, and everything comes with practice. Closing deals over the phone, guys. Anybody can close anybody. All you gotta do is listen to the client and hear the cues, what the client wants, and then you're gonna close. Don't oversell.
Sure.
I mean, that's another thing. Talk about persistency. Um, when I started in this business, my persistencies went down. I thought I was a great salesman, and a lot of people were canceling my apps.
Yeah.
When I called one client, and then the guy said, "Well, the thing is that yeah, you sold me a final expense for 30,000, monthly payment was 200, but another guy showed up and gave me the exact same plan for you know $90." So I was like, okay, well, then I gotta start being greedy and I gotta be smart. So I started going to the companies that were offering better rates,
Hmm.
and my persistency went up. Chargebacks went down big time. So
Yeah.
just don't be greedy, be smart with your business. The persistence is going to go up. Always answer the phone if your clients call. Uh, Clients get cold feet. That's normal in every industry.
Yep.
If
Yep.
you're afraid to face that, you're gonna lose that sale anyway. But if you call
Yep.
it, I mean, we got 50-50 chance, I mean, to keep it. Maybe
Yep.
what you sold uh, is not really what they wanted. Go back to the drawing board and change the policy. I mean, do whatever it takes. It's easy, guys. In reality, it is hard in the sense that you have to do a lot of dials and go through a lot of people to get to the yes, to the first sale. And you have to do this every day. But in the big picture, God, I mean, this is easy. I was looking at a
Yeah.
girl, for instance, she started walking on a campground. I mean, I was like, dude,
Yep.
that's the way to do it. You can travel all over the country, nice and easy, going from campground to campground, and enjoy nature, enjoy your time, and still have a good time, and make you money. You know,
Yep.
uh, it's easy, guys. I mean, you just gotta do it. You gotta practice.
Yeah.
Follow the leader. If you have any questions, I mean, you can reach out. Anybody can help you out, guys. I mean,
Yep.
to grow. But I mean, it's
Wait.
easy. Easy.
One thing here that you'll never have the excuse over here that we didn't get trained or you weren't offered the opportunity, right? So we do lots of training. Wait, back a few months ago we didn't do this, but we train literally every day of the week, twice a day. And matter of fact, guess what we're going to be doing here in a few hours? 2 o'clock, we have our health training with Life X. Rick will be on today, Rick and Connor, and we're going to be doing some sales. Me and him are going to be doing some back and forth selling products today. So I want you to be on that 2 o'clock sales call, and we're going to be talking about how to work with the leads that you're giving, that you've been given, and I'm going to go over a scenario of how I'm pitching them. So we don't miss our 2 o'clock today, right here on. We'll be in the either be on the regular winter training. I don't know. Wherever you find me, I'll be there. We'll be there. So 2 o'clock today. Don't miss that one. Do we have any questions before we close out today for either me or Misha? Um, somebody, Leanne, you want to read them off to us and tell us kind of see what we got?
Sure. Let's see what we
Okay.
got here. Looks like there's no question. We've had two people
Okay.
jump off for
Okay. Yeah, that's
meetings.
okay. Yep. Well,
But
and this kind of went a little long, but guys, okay, no questions for us. You understand persistency, why we think it's important. Don't be afraid, but always reach out to your clients and don't be afraid to pick up their call and don't be afraid to call them. They will appreciate you calling them, I promise. And so if the person out of sight, out of mind is true in this scenario. And if you don't stay on there and somebody else comes by, they can very easily take away your policy and your sale. Those are your clients. Protect your clients. Keep them close to you, right? And let's keep good persistency. Hey, love you guys. We'll be around today. I got a few things I got to go do outside of life insurance for a few minutes, but I'll be back on a little bit later. I definitely will see you at 2 o'clock right here on this channel. Love you guys. We'll see you around. Thank you.